I love it. Let's go back a little bit then. I want to take you
Yeah.
back to before, because I feel like you might disagree with me, and you can tell me if you disagree with me. But I feel like that's a lot easier with SUBTO now that you've grown it. I feel like being able to get those people and spend 50K to be the like get all those people together. How about before you have all that?
Bro, I've always done that.
Okay, so give an example of being able to get around, because you're saying that getting around bigger people, right, is what's giving you that confidence. How would, and this was going to be one of my questions anyway, how would
great
question.
Freaking
Just starting out?
Ryan and Jason. Okay. I saw these guys, Ryan Chenoweth, shout out Ryan Chenoweth. He'll never watch this because he's like anti-social media, but Ryan Chenoweth, Jason, these dudes were beasts at closing. Like, you guys, so good at closing, like unbelievably good at closing. This is 7, 8, 9 years ago. I was like, I need to be a better closer. So I literally go, let me just go into your appointments with you. And they were like, well, that doesn't. So I was in Homevestors, right? And so Homevestors is like kind of the anti-collaboration business. Mm-hmm. And they don't want people collaborating with each other. These people are horrible human beings. But I got Jason and Ryan Chenoweth to really spend time with me, because what I told them is, I go, look, here's what I'll do. I will do a deal and I will pay you half of my deal that I dispo, or I'll sell it to you, or whatever. I just want to be in the room. I won't say anything. I just want to watch. And I got around these people. And there's two things that I learned. Ryan Chenoweth has the worst stutter you will ever hear. You know, Chuck, one of our SUBTO students, has a stutter like no other. No, he has a stutter like no other. Okay. But he crushes it. Chuck is really good on the phone. I'm proud of him. Ryan Chenoweth is the greatest closer I've ever seen in my life. And he has the worst stutter I've ever heard. And I learned so much by going to 3 appointments with him. That's all he let me. His 3 appointments. Pace, I'll promise you 3 appointments. Gave me 3 appointments, and I sat there. And the number one thing I learned from Ryan was utilize your own skills, who you are, and lean into yourself.
Right.
Right. So Ryan, nothing against it, but this is what Ryan did. Ryan amplified his stutter as he went into seller appointments. Why do you think he did that, Jamil?
That's interesting. This makes me want to think about it, because I love psychology of things like that, because it was more him, and people like the real you.
Yes.
That's my guess.
It's why when people from Texas meet with people that are not from Texas, they amplify the Texas drawl and the y'all and the you know, all the things. It's because people find it endearing. And so I learned that from Ryan. Being around Ryan, I'm like, okay, I need to find the things that are natural to me, but just turn the volume up on them a little bit. And I learned that from Ryan. And then the other thing I learned from Jason, you get people like Ryan that amplify what they're really good at. And then Jason, I watched him mirror every seller like he was holding up a mirror in front of that seller. He was so good at mirroring. It was freaking stupid. It was so obvious to me, because I'm watching it, right? I'm sitting in there in the appointment. And you know, these appointments, like you go on do you go on much appointments, Jonah, or not really?
I used to back, like, I mean, you know, I mainly do direct to agent now, but back in the day, I did direct to seller. I did direct to seller for about a year, and I did some in seller.
So you went some appointments. Okay. So, you know, these people a lot of times are living some really dingy lives. They're just making really bad decisions.
Anyways, I have some stories.
And they're like some of the worst houses ever. Right.
Yeah.
Cody Barton, my partner, this is one of my favorite things he ever did. We go into the worst house on the planet. The worst house. There's dog crap on the back patio to the point where there's so much poo you can't see the freaking concrete. We go inside, everything's covered in cat poo, and there's like black widows, and there's all this stuff all over the house. Like you feel like you're walking through a horror movie. And the ladies are like, please sit down. And you look down, like the couches are all smeared with dog crap. Like there's dogs everywhere.
Yeah.
And I sit down as if there's no dog crap, because that's what I do, right?
Because you're gross. No, I'm kidding.
Because I'm gross, but I'm also mirroring them. I'm like, y'all like dog crap? I like dog crap, and I'm
Love it.
gonna make $100,000 on this dog crap, right?
You're right.
Cody goes, "Can I get a newspaper? Do you guys have a newspaper?" And they go, "Sure." And they were confused, and he takes his time.
Oh, that's insulting almost
He
though.
unravels the newspaper
That's
and
so
puts it down on the couch and sits on it.
That's really
And I was
bad
like,
though.
this will be the last time you go to an appointment with me in your life.
That's like insulting. Like you're that,
So
like,
bad.
it's like you just like get the newspaper out, put it on the
But
couch.
that's what I learned from Ryan. Like Ryan was like, lean into who these people are. Like he would go to a point where he went into an appointment. I noticed the most interesting things. People would come in, and, you know, the seller would answer the phone or answer the house with their hat, like kind of sometimes when sun's in your, not in your face anymore, you just kind of put your hat up like this, and you just kind of put it on the back of your head. Jason would even change his hat to match the position of the hat the seller had. He would cross the legs, do the things, like everything you can imagine. Jason was so good at mirroring. And I just was like, all right, cool. I saw how you do it. And now when I mirror sellers and you guys see me do it, I was like, I learned that from Jason. Every little thing I am good at, I have absorbed from another high-level human being. And people, and I would argue that my relationship with Ryan Chenoweth and Jason, and I could go on with Clint Shipp and other amazing human beings that I met back in the early days, I could argue that these people were more impactful in my journey than anybody's been in the last 5 years.
Interesting. Why is that? Is it because it was when you were newer? Because it was like the beginning?
Because zero to $1,000 is an infinite growth, man. I mean, zero to something is like crazy. 1,000 to 10,000. What would you rather have if you're broke? A skill and
I would rather
proof of concept, or be hanging out with cool people? Like some of the people I hang out with now, like I hang out with some pretty cool people. You guys see me with some pretty cool people, but dude, they're just other cool people. They not all of them necessarily change or impact my life. And some of them are just on a wavelength of, I just want to sell more product. And for me, I'm like, I want to go into the rooms and find the people who are actually changing the game and doing things, because it's the Ryan Chenoweths and the Jasons of the world and the Clint Shipps who I originally came up with, that I was like, you actually changed my life. You change other people's lives. You're amazing. You're a maverick. I want to be around you. So, you know, you see other people doing cool stuff around me, and I'm lucky to be in those rooms. But again, I'm going to argue, in the very beginning stages, the people that like made me become who I was 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, way more impactful than hanging out with Grant Cardone the last 2 years. We hung out 25 times or whatever, or being able to text Elena Cardone whenever I want, or Grant or Pete Vargas, or dude, you tell me right now, I would have to give up one relationship in my life and what it meant to me and how it built me. Ryan Chenoweth or Grant Cardone, who am I picking? Ryan Chenoweth, the guy who has the worst stutter on planet Earth. There's no way that human being's leaving my history.
It makes sense 100%. I mean, like, I think about it, like I'm 100% going places too, or like I'm planning on it, but like there will be nobody like you or Jamil. Like there's literally impossible, like of like what you guys brought me from zero to what I am now, which is like doing hundreds of thousands, right? Like a year. So I get what you mean. So this was a question I was going to ask. It sounds like you kind of answered it. I was curious, like when somebody should look for a mentor. Sounds like it says immediately. Like if you're willing to do this, like find some sort of mentor immediately.
Bro, I begged somebody today to send me a link for $100,000 mentorship for 1 year. I'll show you the text message. I was like, yo, dude, I reached out to your team, bro. Where's the freaking link?
Wait, why? Why do you want to, why are you still doing, that's interesting to me. Why are you, Mr. Pace Morby, still looking to get into mentorships? That's like an interesting thing, I think, for a lot of people, because like so many people look up to you. It's like, what does Pace not know? Like, what do you, like, what? So like, answer that. Like, why are you still looking for mentorships?
Okay, so let me pull this up. This literally was like, okay, so here's a text thread. I'll show you exactly who it is. Holton Bugs. I said, good morning. To ask, need a link for the one mastermind. Do you have any recommendations for trust tax situations? I'm looking to build a new structure. So I've got this new idea for some content around competing structures. Don't worry about this. I'm like going to compete one guy with another guy, and I'm going to create some really cool content in 2023. Cool. And then he's like, please connect with Anna. I was like, okay, great. Really appreciate you. Anna hasn't replied. I'll try a few more times. Right. And I'm asking a guy to send me a link to give him $100,000.
That's really funny.
It's because the people in the room that he puts together, the minimum amount of money they make every year is $10 million. He filters at a higher level. The conversations are different. They're not even remotely close. You'll never hear somebody complain about their neighbor. You'll never hear somebody complain about their wife. You'll never hear somebody use the word, I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, I'm this. It's literally all the golden flow of creation. Everybody's in the room to be like, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Here's what I did this year. Here's what I did that year. Blah, 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 blah. It's like all these creators coming into one space. And Holton Bugs is like, yo, how do I get these people all together? And we go do $1 billion in business with all these collective minds. And just being around that energy, you're like, one, it's okay to be a dreamer, right? Two, you should be a requirement. And three, I don't have all the answers. These guys do. Right. I can literally say, again, I told you, I think at the beginning, I was like, dude, I got one relationship. Cody Sperber led me into that room. Right. He didn't know he led me into that room, but he led me into that room. He led me into a room that led me into a room that led me into a room that led me into there. And so that's my job. I'm just going to open up all the doors. And for me, like I'm trying to leave all the doors open for my SUBTO students to just follow behind me if they're choosing to do so. Right? You're one of them. Get in the right rooms, be around the right people, ask the right questions, and people will go, all right, here's the answer. Right? So yes, 100%. Next year, I bet you next year I will spend $500,000 in just education, getting in the right rooms. The one mastermind is actually not about education at all. It's $100,000 plus airfare, plus accommodations, plus I'll spend, it's probably another 50 grand. Right. But again, the equivalent of $150,000 mastermind to me today is what maybe would have been a $1,500 JV split with somebody 10 years ago. It was just as hurtful to give up $1,500 then as it is to give up $150,000 now. It does not matter to me. You could shoot me in the head today. I could have a zero bank account. It does not matter. I am so freaking driven. I don't care. It's not about the money. The money's the tool to get to the next place to go. Have you ever played a video game, Jonah? Yes. Have you ever played like Zelda? You ever played Link? Yeah. Breath of the Wild? I don't know if I played that one. Is that the really old one? Is that the N64 it's like the newer one. It's like the dope one. Oh no, I haven't played video games in a while. Okay, so anyway, I feel like everything's a video game for me. It's like, okay, this is crazy. People spend more time creating their character in a video game than they do customizing their own shit. It's crazy to me. So I look at myself as a video game. I'm like, am I okay with the way I dress? Am I okay with the way I appear? Am I okay with my beard? Am I okay with these things? Because these things matter. They do truly matter. Okay, great. Where do I want to go? How many kids do I want to have? Okay, I'm going to plan all this stuff. All right, I'm going to go get it. It truly is that simple. And my fear is, like you said, behind me. It's not in front of me. My fear is behind me, not in front of me. I love it. And it's also like, because I keep saying these on every episode, because like I think there's two motivations for success. I don't know if I definitely got this from somewhere. I didn't just come up with this, but you need desperation and inspiration. I think it's good to have both, but you really need desperation. Desperation is the one that's like on your back, that's like forcing you to keep going. Inspiration is good too, in the sense of seeing someone like you, Pace, or somebody who's like way ahead of you, of being like, man, I really want to get there. I want to do great things with my life. I want to be Zelda in real life. I don't want just want it to be in the video game. I want to be the hero of my journey. That I think is what most people think gets people there.
In my opinion, it's more the fears. I don't know what you think of this. I'm curious of your opinion on this. And this might just be a projection of me, of like, I definitely have that inspiration, but I don't know, like my own fears of like not being able to retire my family, or not being able to, do give as much as I want to give to the world, in the sense of like money and donations. And eventually, and now I'm starting to also get addicted to helping others. I've seen, like, there's nothing quite like getting someone their first deal at this point for me. Like, that's the only way I can relive myself getting that first deal. I'm curious, what do you think? Have you thought about those, like
Yeah,
the idea of
desperation and
inspiration versus?
inspiration all day long, bro.
Yeah.
For me, inspiration is the permission that we need to move forward, right? So I look at a Steve Trang, he's like, I started a bank, or I did a title company. I'm like, damn, who told you that? He's like, nobody, I just did it. And I was like, oh, okay. So we have permission. This is like what we should be doing. He's like, yep, this is what we should be doing. 2 months later, I have a title company. Yeah. So dude, you have to be inspired. But at the end of the day, like, I've been desperate before. I wrote a suicide letter to my brother when I was 24 years old. I was going through like a really, really tough time, like maybe a year before I met Laura, and maybe 2 years before I met Laura. My brother hung himself. My business fell apart because of 2008, lost everything that I built. I went through a divorce, did all the things, right? Went through all the thing. And I remember laying down next to a fire, writing like a suicide note to myself, or to my brother. Like, I love you. This is the last time I'm going to write. And then I had this whole plan that I was going to drive this little car I was driving. I was going to drive this car directly into a semi truck driver's truck. Head on, like he's going the other way, right? And I was going to boom, just kill myself, because I'm like, he won't die, I will, and it'll be fine, and I'll be out of this situation. And it was just so dumb.
Right.
And honestly, the thing that shook me loose was my mom. I was just going through something. My mom just knew it. She sensed something in the world. She reached out to me, and she's just like, I love you. Come see me and come talk to me. I was like, okay. And my mom like recorrected me, or whatever it was. Like, we've all been through that stuff. We've all had these really horrible thoughts to a certain degree. But what does it really show you? It shows you that you're lacking a skill to provide a value to your own life. Okay. So like, skills. What are some of the skills I have? Holy shiznit, I got skills. I got so many skills. It's ridiculous. So can I raise money? Yes. Can I close deals? Yes. Can I find opportunities? Yes. Can I network? Yes. Can I do this? Can I see opportunities other people don't see? Yeah, but those things took a while to compound, right? So I had to be inspired by people to take action, and I had to be continually motivated to stay in that action through desperation. And so I think that 100%, both of those are 100% correct.
So I want to do this too. This is like a question I like asking, because I think so, everyone's gone through some sort of hell, right? Like, you don't know my story. My story was right before I had, right before I started doing real estate investing. I had a manic episode. So like, I was going through some really hard mental health issues. I was like not doing well on all sorts of medications, like just not going through it at all well. I don't know, but like, having been there, starting to get out of it, being lost, and then going through it, but then having that as like a source of like, I don't want to go back there. I think that's almost 100, like maybe like 80% of my success. And I can get into how I got out of it, but I'm curious, because yours sounds like true hell. That sounds like true hell. Would you say divorce? Your brother just killed himself. Your business is completely gone. Like, I don't even think I've gone through a hell like that. So I'm curious, like, how does one get out of hell, Pace? I don't know if that's a hard question to answer, but
it's so interesting to think about. The real honest answer is that somebody gave me an opportunity. That's the honest answer. Nothing clicked for me, right? It wasn't like somebody came to me and was like, or I'm sorry, it wasn't like I went out, read a book, solved the problem internally.
Right.
That's not what happened. What happened was somebody came to me and helped me. Again, it's like, why do I help so many people? Well, because I remember what it was like when I didn't have help. And I remember what it was like when somebody did help me. You know what my problem is? My problem is I have a freaking wonderful memory. I remember all of the emotions I went through when I had this horrible, tumultuous situation, I remember those emotions like scarred inside my brain. And so I can never forget the desperation I felt when nobody was around, to the point where I was willing to write a suicide letter. But
Right.
what happened is somebody came to me and they said, hey, I need this or I need that, and here's an opportunity.
Was it your mom? Wait, who was it?
It was a guy named Steve came to me. It ended up being a dog shit opportunity, but it built me up. But here's the point. It built momentum in the appropriate direction rather than pulling me back.
Right.
And through that momentum of going down the hallway of life, I had other doors I was passing by. And I was able to open up other doors that led down another thing in a corridor that led to a ballroom that led to a this. And I'm like, holy crap, I made it out. And none of it was me. None of it was me. It was somebody else coming to me with an opportunity and saying, hey, let's do this. And they basically saved my life. And so again, why do I want to help so many people? Because I have a good memory. And my memory reminds me that there was a time not too long ago that I was in a desperate situation with a lack of opportunity, and somebody came along, wherever that came from, the universe, God, my mom called them and told them to come see me. I don't know, but they gave me an opportunity and they say, here you go. And the opportunity, here's what the opportunity was. Dixon Golf. It was like right before Dixon Golf, a year and a half before Dixon Golf. A lot of people don't know I own a golf company that was doing a lot of business. I was like the official sponsor of the PGA Tour and all this kind of stuff. Really great 3-year story of my life from like 24 to 27. Great story, cool, whatever. But right before that is when I was going through all that crap, and somebody came to me and goes, hey, I found this golf company and they need somebody to raise money for them. And you seem like you know how to talk to people. You want to come help me raise money? I go, golf? I don't even have a golf club. I don't even. And so like we ended up coming, here's what we did. We went to Dixon Golf, me and Steve, and I still own 10% of the company to this day, but this is what we did. We ended up going, all right, well, we're going to talk to Dane and William, who are the current owners with us at Dixon Golf. And we're going to say, we need 51% of this business and we'll go raise the money and blow this thing up and we'll go do whatever. And it was a lot of fun. For 3 years, I was like good friends with Don Cheadle, Josh Dumel, who is Fergie's ex-husband, like really good friends with these people because golf, right? Yanni was sponsored by my golf company. Don Cheadle was sponsored by my golf company. And this came from the thing that Steve was like, let's go raise money. So I went and raised money for this thing and I learned how to talk to people about raising capital. And I learned a skill. That was the thing. The skill of raising capital is what saved me and moved me in the right direction. And ultimately that opportunity did not work out the way that I, laid down in bed my first 3 months and the opportunity and go, this is going to turn into the this and the that and blah, 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 blah. Somebody should have come right to me and go, no, it won't. But believe me, it'll be 100 times better. It'll be 100 times better than you could ever imagine. And here I am. I'm wiping my daughter's butt after she just took a dump. And I could not be happier in my life. Every little moment led me to where I'm at today. And I'm so grateful for the people that extended those opportunities when I didn't have them. And so why do you think I built a community over a mentorship?
Right. Real quick, I know I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I am curious too, like, was it the fact that it just got you out of the house type of thing? Or like, cause like in
basically,
my head, yeah, okay. That's what I was curious about. Like, it was just like, it sounded
my
like
brother, not so much. I'm a pretty active guy. So like, I don't get like laying around playing video games. When I play video games, I'm doing it for fun, not like because I'm trying to pass time. Right. And what it was just having somebody to talk to about anything other than what I just went through. Anything other. And when people are like, oh, you need to uncover the trauma and you need to deep dive. No, you don't. Shut the hell up. Get over your damn self.
I so feel that, like, just with other things, but keep going.
It's like, guys, okay, it's important to face some of the trauma, but like people spend their whole effing life hanging on this trauma and going to like therapists and stuff. It's like, no, the reason why you're struggling in life is because you're bored. Maybe you have a chemical imbalance, which I understand, but the vast majority of people I meet that are like, I have trauma for being a blah, blah. Dude, get over yourself. You're not that important. Make everything about everybody else but yourself, and you'll forget about yourself and you'll forget about your trauma. So how do you overcome your trauma? Help other people overcome theirs and shut the hell up. My wife all the time, she's like, man, you could complain a lot more about all the things that happen to you. I was like, yeah, but you know what my job is? Here's my job. Do your job and shut the hell up. I say this all the time. I don't complain. You'll never hear me complain. Inside my house, man, I never complain. Oh my gosh. There was this joke, right? It was a stand-up comedian. He's like, man, the second you think you're significant, zoom out and look at the universe.
Right.
Zoom out. You are nothing. You are worthless. Okay, the second I realize I'm worthless in that regard, then I can get over myself and go, oh, dude, who cares about my trauma? Nobody cares about my trauma. All right, so if nobody cares about it, then why am I worrying about it? All right, cool. That. Over it, done, moving on, right? People are just so involved in their stupid feelings and they have nothing going on. You're bored. You're effing bored. Go help somebody else overcome their trauma. You'll get over yours.
I love it. I mean, honestly, I totally feel that in the sense of the best way I think to get over a bad day is do something for somebody else. Always. Like I literally always, like I literally have this thing now where if I'm having just a terrible day, I'm like, all right, you're going to donate $500 to charity. That's happening. Cause like your day, what you were talking about at the beginning of this podcast of like, how much would you pay for a day back? Right. In my head, everything. So how much would you pay to turn one shitty day into a good day? Right.
At least $500.
At least $500. Yeah, exactly. At least $500. Right.
Yeah. I love that.
So it's something I've been doing and it literally immediately snaps me out of it. It's another law of the universe. Right.
You want to know how I got my kids to stop crying?
Yeah. Tell me.
Here's how I did it. I don't even have to do anything. I go to Target, I go to Walmart, I go to like Disneyland, and I hear some stupid ass kid crying. And I go to my kids, I go, you guys hear that kid? You hear that kid? And they're like, yeah. I go, that's what you sound like when you cry.
That's so funny. I'm keeping that.
And I go, do you want to sound? I'm like, he's a knucklehead, right? And they're like, yeah, he's a knucklehead. I go, that's what you sound like when you cry.
That's so funny.
And then the last time Asher ever cried, I remember the exact Target on Southern and Gilbert, kid crying 3 aisles over in the toys section. I go, you hear that kid? He goes, yeah. I go, he's a knucklehead, right? And he goes, yeah. And I go, that's what you sound like when you cry. And then I just let it marinate. And then I just did this to Corbin the other day. And it was like, she just dropped. She was like, wow, I really do sound like that. So here's the same thing, guys. Have you ever heard anybody else complain? Have you ever heard anybody else talk about how hard their life is and then go, wow, you're so right, man. Your life is so hard and blah, 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 blah. Or is it like, shut the hell up?
Right.
For me, it's shut the hell up. So I'm like, why would I complain? I'm just going to sound like you. Right. You know, the reason I never drank ever in my life, I've never drank in my life.
Because you're Mormon.
No. Got a lot of friends. My wife is Mormon. She'll have a glass of wine from time to time. There's a lot of people that drink that are Mormon. They're just not supposed to. I've never drank before because Tyler Korth, his brother, Brian Korth, I was in 6th grade hanging out in their basement. And Brian Korth, his older brother, basically stole wine from somebody or whatever. And he was drunk. And the way he was behaving and his breath and the way he was just acting like a different version of himself, I was like, yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And it's like scarred me. Nothing my parents could have ever said or done to me could have ever convinced me to never drink more than Brian Korth taught me to never drink.
Love it.
It's weird. And so people go, oh man, you're Mormon. I was like, yeah, I'm Mormon. I'm into, you know, Jello and pudding and ice cream and stuff. Like I'm very Mormon. But man, and I don't have anything against drinking. I'm just saying I was so fearful of looking like that I chose not to drink.
Right.
So again, it's the same thing with anything else. I picture what I want and I go, okay, well, that person doesn't do that. I'm not going to do that. That's it. It's technical, a lot more technical than what most people would really want to hear from me. Like, oh, you're basically checking a box. Yeah, I'm checking a box. I don't want to look like that, sound like that, do that. I'm just not going to do it.
Yep. I love it. All right, I'm going to ask you one last question. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's the question I always end the podcast with, which is, if you were to go back to Pace, right when this can either be right when you did your first entrepreneurial adventure or like when you just started getting into real estate investing, whichever one you think is a better answer. What would you tell him now, knowing everything that you know now?
Okay, great question. Ooh, I love it. Oh, it's so interesting. So I'm like very into like video games. I really am into video games. I just haven't played them in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I love video games. I love solving problems in the video games. I love the creativity. I love the storytelling that they have. I really love video games.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came home from my mission, okay, I came home from my mission and I started playing Halo 2.
Oh, I love that game. By the way, I used to play video games, and when I'm at a friend's house and they want to play, I play.
Me too. I love it.
Yeah.
But here's what I did. Remember the LAN parties that everybody used to have with Halo 2, like physically meet up?
Yep.
I used to have a LAN party at my property. I went out and I bought 16 TVs for my garage. I put the LAN together.
Wow.
Oh, bro, I was
serious gamer. That is some
gamer.
serious stuff.
Serious gamer. And we would game Friday night from like 5 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock at night the next day. Like 24 hours Halo. And my wife at the time was like cool with it. Right? Cool with it.
Wait, this was when you were married? How old were you?
I was 21, 22. I'm Mormon, bro. We get married early. We trying to get laid, you know?
Gotcha. Okay.
Not only did I not drink, I also wasn't sleeping around until I got married. So that's what Mormons do. It's like, anyway, so you get it. So my wife at the time was cool with it, but now I'm saying this out loud. I almost am like, I have a whole nother tangent I can go on, but I'm not going to go on it.
Not to interrupt you, but Daniel's down.
Yo. So here's what I would go back and tell myself. I would tell myself, if let's say I had 1 minute to tell myself this, okay? I would have ran to myself and I would have been like, you'll never make another dollar in your life without another human being. The quality of your human beings around you determines the quantity of the money you make. Look at the human beings that you're hanging out with and look at the activities you're doing. Yes, it's fun. This is great, but it's completely self-defeating. You're spending 24 hours nonstop sleeping, hanging out with people that ultimately 2 of them will drive home drunk and kill them, not because of my parties, but like later down the road, they ended up dying because they were going home drunk. That's the quality of the people you're hanging out with. And all I could think about even back then, I was like, I want to make $100 grand a year. I want to make $100 grand a year. I want to make $100 grand a year. That's what I cared about 20 years ago. Right. Yet I wasn't hanging out with anybody that was making $100 grand a year.
Right.
So for me, I would say immediately upgrade the quality of the people that you're around, and it will upgrade the quantity of money you make. Go find people making $200,000 a year and spend time with them. That's 100% what I would have told myself. And then if I had any extra time, I would have said, nobody cares, work harder, learn how to raise capital, learn creative finance, and make sure you tell everybody to never buy Androids. So nobody ever in this world ever buys Androids.
And invest in Bitcoin. That's the last one too, right? I love it. Pace, you're amazing. I want you to let you know, you not only helped me become a better real estate investor and like also help me like obviously make the money and help me get the audience. I mean, to be real, this is the most viewers I've ever had live. We have 29 viewers live now, guys. I want to say thank you guys so much for coming on. It's awesome. People show up for you because they love you, right? But I also want to say publicly in front of everybody, like, you made me a better man, or you make me a better man every day, because I see where I want to go, like in a lot of ways, in like, maybe not in every single way, but as like a human being, in the sense of like, okay, this is what it means to be a leader, right? Like I would say probably, if I've thought about it, probably you, Jamil, and my dad are like the 3 people as men who like I see as like, okay, this is what it means to be a man, and like a good man, and somebody who's going to lead the community, do good in the world, and like how you should live life in general. So I want to say thank you, like, because I
Bro,
don't think
thank
I've
you.
ever told you
You're a
that.
wonderful leader. Your podcast is amazing. There was a point in time where I had 5 viewers, then 7, then 20, then 100, then 500, whatever. Sarah Marati says, she's like, so we're not learning about how to crush in 2023. Actually, we're learning how to crush in life.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want to focus on 2023, that's cute. I ain't trying to focus on 2023. However, Sarah, if you want to learn how to crush it in 2023, go back to my last like 7 YouTube videos. I did a whole series on about 2023. Go watch those. Right?
Let's plug it real quick. Let's plug it. What, like, where are the people going to see you, Pace? For the people who don't, for the one person watching this who's like my friend from high school who doesn't know who you are, where do you want me to send the people right now?
You just go to YouTube.
Just look up Pace Morby on YouTube, right?
Yeah, well, here I'll find a video for it. Man, give me sharing capabilities. I'll find you guys a little video real quick. Something for Sarah, just for Sarah. I'll give Sarah a video. So here we go. Right here, Sarah. Okay, best way to invest in real estate is interest rates rise. This video is so dope. I actually break down, like, I did a free golden ticket event. So I sit there and I give you all the strategy. I break it down, talking to a bunch of people, and it's great. So there you go. That's where I would go. You want to learn how to strategize in 2023? That's the video.
Yeah, or if you just want to learn exactly how to make a multi-million-dollar business, just go watch his whole YouTube channel, right? Like, he gives, guys, he was talking about it earlier. He gives it all for free, right? Sub2 is not about, like, I don't even think it's really about creative financing. It's about what we were just talking about, in the sense of, I can go not only to Pace, I've got like goats like in the game. Like I have Uncle Lonza is a person who I consider like my mentor, like my, when Pace has too much to do, mentor, right? Like, he was the one who was holding my hand back in the day. But like,
that's what a good leader does. Finds the next leader in line. And look at you, bro. You're one of the next leaders in line.
Right. We're
guys,
getting
give
there.
Jonah some freaking love. And if I were you guys, I'd put on your vision board to be on this freaking podcast. This is a great podcast. I would say that talking about fears is one of the greatest topics you could talk about in real estate. I think this podcast is going to be one of the biggest ones. I bet you will surpass Wholesale Hotline at some point in terms of viewership.
That would be wild. Let's see about that. For me to do that, I'd have to give more than you. I'd have to be able to give more than you 3 combined. So we'll see if I get there. But
I think you got it.
I will. I love you, dude. You're
the best.
You're amazing. You're an amazing human being. I appreciate you so much for coming on. Guys, follow him on YouTube for the one person who doesn't know who this guy is.
Hey, guys,
follow
do me a favor. Tell your mom to follow me.
Tell your mom to DM Pace.
I want to know your mom's Halo 2 tag name. I want to know your mom's name. Okay. I was Nixon. I don't know why I thought Nixon was the cool. Do you remember your Halo name?
I was like, for Halo 2, I was like 12. I was like maybe like 10 or 11. I was pretty damn young.
Okay, so here's the greatest name I ever saw on Halo 2. We're gonna get dirty on this, okay?
Amazing. Get me banned off YouTube. Let's go.
You won't be. It's so good. So you remember Rumpelstiltskin, the childhood like story? This guy had his name on Halo was Rumpled Foreskin.
Incredible, guys. If you're looking for more content like that, follow our boy Pace Morby on
Shout
YouTube,
out to you guys.
Instagram. Shout out to everyone here, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Next week we've got Caleb Christopher, a great guy as well, great TC guy, amazing Sub2 student. It's going to be amazing. I appreciate all of you. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and follow Pace. He is doing incredible things, and I will see y'all next week.